Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video on the channel. Inside of today's video, we're going to be ranking the best 15 brawlers in Brawl Stars right now. The update literally just dropped yesterday morning, so we've had about a day of grinding non-stop, trying to really realize who's good in the game, especially with all the gadget changes, with 12 new hypercharges, with rank changes. There's so much to really consider. So again, a lot of these brawlers are probably going to be like predictions. I might get some of these wrong, probably, but I'll be doing a tier list later on in the week, or probably at the beginning of next week, to really solidify things. Anyways, let's start off at number 15 with Leon. So Leon, I think, is actually really underrated. Hear me out. It's because of the lollipop drop. Again, a lot of brawlers are going to be really annoying because of his gadget change, but unlimited lollipop drops, essentially. The same goes with like Stu's turret as well. It is just so toxic. It's really good in the new game Brawl Hockey. I've been having a lot of fun in different game modes as well, like Gem Grab, Brawl, because I'm just spamming these invisible turrets and they just never know where I am at any given point. It's just absolute carnage. So I think he's underrated. Maybe not top 15, but maybe it's my one hot take. So before we go into the 14th best brawler in the game, let's go through some honorable mentions. So I missed out on Amber, Jean, Angelo, Griff, Gray, and Kenji. So all of these brawlers are pretty good. You got Jean with infinite spirit, I think, vengeful spirits, where you can just spam them across the map, especially in Bounty and Knockout. Really toxic. If Bounty was in the rank rotation, he probably would be in my top 15. Angelo's still really consistent. Griff's such a good anti-tank in the meta. You've got Gray with the hypercharge, and of course Amber's just really solid. Just got probably a little bit worse with a lot more toxic gadgets being abused more than hers, but she's still pretty good. But jumping into number 14, we have Meeple. So talking about toxic gadgets, he's got two insane gadgets. So his dice gadget is absolutely insane on maps where you're going to get outranged. You could just use this gadget essentially to push up the map. So just throw it out, push up close to your gadget, go to some other walls, and then you've closed the distance already, because of course it's got really limited range. But yeah, with the recent buff, it's only a 0.1 second reload speed buff, but I think the gadget rework has made him so incredibly strong. He's really good in hot zone, really good as standalone brawler like Gem Grab, Brawl. I've used him in multiple instances, and I think even before the buff, I think he was underrated because I pretty much never lost with him in ranked. I think people are sleeping on Meeple. He might be boring, but I think he's really good. So now moving into number 13, we have Ash, and the main reason why I put Ash here, you know, already he was good with the hypercharge, etc. in the last meta, but the recent change to Rotten Banana, it's now got a cooldown of 8 seconds. You literally fully raged up the entire map. You only lose 10% of your health whilst gaining 40% rage, which is absolutely bizarre. Of course, before it wasn't the best because you'd rather just use your super and then the heal gadget combination, and even the heal gadget is 13 seconds, so that's of course really good as well. But literally I played a couple of games with him in like Hot Zone and Brawl, and they could not touch me the entire game. Even hard counters, I just destroyed and abused so easily. I think the Rotten Banana gadget is just so broken at 8 seconds, so abuse it before it gets nerfed. So next up at number 12, I went with Frank. So I still think Frank is one of the best brawlers in the game, mainly because he didn't receive any nerfs really. Both of his gadgets are actually pretty, well, not really slow, like in the medium in terms of cooldown rates, but still, you have basically, whenever you get super, you've got active noise cancellation every single time. So essentially nobody can interrupt your super. So inherently, of course, he's got buffed. Again, those counter brawlers, you know, like Primo, Maisie, etc. You slap it on this gadget, they can't counter you any longer. Of course, the hypercharge is so quick to charge up, and especially with like Poco, Berry being very meta brawlers right now, it just creates a better synergy for him, and he's just so good in so many different game modes. So next up at number 11, we've got Gus. So I know Gus received a 4% damage nerf to his Cookie Popper gadget and also his main attack damage, but I don't think that really like impacted him too much in the meta. He's still such a versatile option, so easy to land shots with. And then of course his Cookie Popper gadget is still like in 16-second cooldown, which is really fast. And then you've also got an underrated build, which I'm testing out a little bit more with his second gadget, Soul Switcher. Basically you get a spirit instantly, and then the health point on the star power increases the healing by 100%. So this combination I think might be a little bit underrated because you basically have unlimited ghosts on the map. From what I found, I think there'll be some interesting synergies with this perhaps, but I still think overall, even if you want to try this wacky build out, even his just old Cookie Popper build, it's just still too good. He's such a good brawler in this meta. So now moving into the best 10 brawlers in the game. At number 10, we're starting it off with Penny. So I know she received quite a big nerf to her hypercharge rate overall, taking it from 2.5 supers to 3.3, but still I think you get your hypercharge really fast, and just Penny is a standalone brawler ever since she got a buff to her range. she's just been one of the best brawlers in the game easily. The reason again is because she's super versatile. She was, before all of the meta shifts, she was like the most picked brawler in scrims and whatever, so just going to show how good she is. And let's face it, it wasn't like the craziest nerf. She's still really good with her turret. She has a lot of HP with it. And the gadget changes, I mean, she hasn't really got any good gadgets that she can abuse, so maybe as the meta shifts, she might get worse. But I think for now, she's still such a solid option, and I use her everywhere. So now moving into the 9th best brawler in the meta right now, I went with Max. So Max is still one of the best brawlers to use for competitive play, especially if you're playing ranked, because she just synergizes with literally everything. She's also one of the best brawlers for Brawl Hockey as well, so you've got to consider that. Also, Phase Shifter is one of the best gadgets in the game, and it only has a 15-second cooldown, so you can make so many aggressive plays with this gadget, of course in Brawl Ball, Gem Grab, etc. And you can never really go wrong with a Max in the meta. Like, there's only maybe a handful of brawlers that really counter her, and still then you can always make it work. Now moving into the 8th best brawler in the meta right now, I went with B. So I think this is going to be the one that everybody is sleeping on. B, I've just been winning every single game with her. In Brawl Hockey, she's absolutely insane. The Rattled Hive gadget is so frustrating. It only takes 17 seconds to cool this down. You can just spam it out like crazy. You can get like 6, 7, 8, nearly 10 Rattled Hives in some games, especially in Brawl Hockey and Brawl Ball. And then, of course, she's got the Hyper Charge on top of that, which is very good for confirming slows. Like, you can slow someone across the map, and then you also get your Hyper Charge shot, and that's dealing like nearly 6k damage. And if you have the damage gear on top of that, you know what I mean, it's just damage inflation like crazy. She's such a good brawler. It only takes, I think, like 2.5 supers to get this hyper charge as well. I'm just seeing so much B right now. She just absolutely is a top 10 brawler. So now moving into the 7th best brawler in the game right now, I'm gonna go with Ollie. So I know he was only just recently buffed, but he got 2 buffs, and the damage buff was crazy. It was like 15%, which is really good, from 1,700 to 2,000. And I think the self-mute being removed was just so good for him, because that was so annoying. Literally, when you go in, you're pretty much just going to die every single time. I know you still remove 50% of your ammo, but he's just incredible in this meta. And again, I think people will be sleeping on Ollie a lot, because he might not be interesting to everyone, but it doesn't mean that he's not one of the best brawlers in the game. He has a lot of HP. He has 11,000 HP, which is one of the best in the game. And I just really like the synergy right now between his super and his gadget. So if you didn't know what you can do, you can super forward, and then before the mute comes out, where the hypnotize comes out, you can then gadget the jump gadget called Regulate, and then essentially you're going to get like a 3.5 second hypnotize, which is going to be really, really good, and you just can't stop it. I faced off against multiple good Ollies abusing this trick, and it was just so broken. I think he's got to be one of the best brawlers in the game right now. You've got to try him out. Now jumping into the 6th best brawler in the game right now, I went with Berry. So I know that I rated Berry pretty highly in the last meta, but I was always like, well, he's not good on certain maps. But I think as the meta's developed, and especially after watching, you know, monthly finals, I just think Berry is so incredibly broken, and he didn't receive any nerfs. His hypercharge rate is so fast, and even his supercharge rate is so incredibly fast as well. I just think it's the synergies that like Berry provides is just so overwhelming. The constant healing, you literally just taking damage, and then you're getting supers, which will overrule the amount of damage that you're receiving. And there's really only in pro play that I've seen maybe a couple of counters really to him, like Lou being the best one, and then like Griff opening up the map. But you know, once pro bans them out, like Berry's just untouchable. You literally can't do anything. You've seen in NA monthly finals as well, Berry was just taking over, and the gadget change as well, it's going to help him as well, constantly healing, and that healing from the gadget also charges a super, and then taking damage charges a super, healing charges a super. Like, there's just so much about him. Just make sure you're constantly receiving damage so you can cycle as much as possible. He's just absolutely insane right now. So now jumping into the 5 best brawlers in the game, starting off at number 5, I've gone with Janet. So Janet, I was really surprised they didn't nerf her hyper charge rate, because it only takes 2 supers to get, which is absolutely insane. It's one of the best hyper charges in the game in my opinion. Once you learn the tech, which I still fully haven't got the hands of it, but still I think it's just absolutely broken. If you watch pro play, you've seen Drage with some really good plays, and some other Janets just destroying people, and by the time, you know, you've hit like 4 or 5 of your hypercharged super bombs, then you have another super available. It's just really hard to take down a Janet right now. She's got that medium range, which is always frustrating. That's why I don't really like Janet metas too much, because she's just got such good range and good damage. 2k damage is pretty decent. I know you can run her down, but once you get the hypercharge, and then also the gadget spam as well to check bushes, yeah, she's insane in the meta. She already was like a top 10 brawler before the update, and now with all of these changes, I think she's even better. Now moving into the 4th best brawler in the game, I've still gone with Stu. Yes, I know that he received a nerf to his Gasser Heal star power. It just wasn't enough, was it? His hyper charge rate didn't get nerfed. And then on top of that, they've actually indirectly buffed him because his speed zone turret only takes 20 seconds to recharge, which sounds like a lot. It's one of the higher charging cooldowns, but you're pretty much always going to have a speed zone turret on the map at all times, so you're constantly sped up. You think of hot zone, you think of gem grab. It is just unfair. It is simply unfair. It reminds me of when this gadget first came out, where his turret didn't decay in health. So again, you just have that turret up the whole game. They added the health decay, but then eventually, like, you're just going to run out of gadgets normally with Stu before the update, but now you're just going to have one every 20 seconds. It's just straight up unfair. So good. But of course, you know, Stu's just good pretty much everywhere, so yeah, how can you even say he's not a top 10 brawler? So now jumping into the third best brawler in the game right now, I've gone for Melody. So this, again, mainly to the better players in the game. For most players, you're probably not going to find Melody to be that broken. But again, in pro play, she's absolutely insane. So if you guys didn't know, the reason why is because the hypercharge is just dumb broken. Of course it is, because you pair it with the interlude gadget, you're going to get like a 5k HP shield, because if you combine the 6 notes, of course, it's 60% shield. Absolutely insane. And then you got the fast beat star power on top of that. It only takes 2.8 supers to get the hypercharge super, which again, pros are getting like 2-3 Melody supers with ease. She's a great counter to so many different options. Even when you think she's got a bad matchup, I don't know, like there's like a healer composition, pros still pick Melody into that just because the amount of damage she can deal with the hypercharge is just absolutely insane. I have no idea how she didn't get nerfed. She's easily a top 5 brawler in the game. Now moving into the second best brawler in the game right now, I've gone for Juju. So Juju, everyone's asking if she's still really good. Well, she only received a one-shot nerf to her supercharge rate. Really, is that gonna do anything? No, it's not going to do a single thing, is it, guys? Because there's so many good things about Juju, and still literally just takes that one extra shot. Still, you've got Grigri, who's really, really good in terms of like just wasting the opponent's ammo against assassins with a slow star power. You can use the shield star power against those sharpshooters that can take it down. You can waste so much ammo, as I said. And then you've got as well a second gadget, Elementalist, which is only a 17-second cooldown, which can just give you invisibility, give you speed. And again, there's just so many good things about her. I just don't know how you're really supposed to counter her. So I'm seeing every ranked game, she's still being banned all the time. She's still broken. I'm moving into the best brawler in the game right now. I have gone for Lou. So this might be a bit of a surprise to you guys, but there's something about Lou right now. I don't know whether he's bugged, but it feels like he's shooting faster. I've seen a few people talk about this. I think he does shoot faster. I don't know what. Anyways, he received a nerf to his hypercharge rate from 2.5 supers to 3.3 supers, but still, I don't think that really impacts him too much. That just means basically there's always this weird waiting time with Lou where you'd hold on to that second super so you get a hypercharge one. Well, now you can just throw out that second super, regain your supercharge if you throw on top of someone, gadget them, and then by the time you've got your third super, you'll have another hypercharge. You'll have a hypercharge available. So his hypercharge still is one of the best inside of the game. Lou as well shuts down so many different compositions. Again, in pro play, people are just banning Lou because it counters everything. In hot zone, it counters all of this Barry Frank nonsense going on. It just counters so much, and it's the only shutdown to so much aggression. Lou's the only thing to go into it, like in Brawl, gem grab, like he's still good in knockout as well as a late pick to counter Darrow, Kit, etc. So yeah, Lou for me is still one of the best brawlers in the game, even with the hypercharge nerf. Again, maybe the meta catches up with him with all the gadget changes, but I still don't see him going anywhere, and still at least being a top 15 brawler at the end of the week. Anyways, that's going to be it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed this one. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and watch my live streams daily, every single day, in about 6 p.m. my time. So yeah, make sure to check that out, and I'll see you guys later.